Fezandipiti can get at least one more shot at this Icy Wind. And I'm in a way better position, especially with Dondozo in the back, if I poison this Calyrex, because eventually the Leech Seed recovery will not make up for it. I can even look to pivot these Pokemon out if I just got this Calyrex poisoned right now. Zamazenta falls asleep. Fezandipiti is guaranteed to wake up. Maybe I should have clicked Dazzling Gleam for the accuracy. But Icy Wind connects. And doesn't get the poison. It's so bad. Okay. Welcome back to VGC Legends. This is the series where I spin a wheel, get a random legendary or mythical Pokemon, speed build a team around that Pokemon, and try the team out on the Regulation J ladder on Pokemon Showdown. I do this for two reasons. One is to just enjoy using legendary and mythical Pokemon because I like them, and the other is that by speed building a bunch of different teams and a bunch of different playstyles, some good teams, some bad ones, some in between, and some just plain weird, I have a fun little adventure trying out a bunch of different approaches to the game, and maybe I learned some things along the way. As you can tell by the wheel, we are in the late stages of the series at this point. The trio of Fezandipiti, Terapagos, and Pecharunt, who all had long names and kind of stood out when the wheel was more compressed, has finally been broken up. And the seventh last Pokemon of the series is yet to be determined. Let's find out. The wheel says... just by a nose. I thought for a second there it was going to stop on Urshifu, but no. The next member of the long name trio. It's time for Fezandipiti. What am I going to do with Fezandipiti and Regulation J? Let's find out together. Okay, I think there's basically one thing to do with Fezandipiti, and that is try to get poison into things with Toxic Chain. It's really not reliable. Every time I've tried to make use of Toxic Chain before, on and off recording, it's just not activated enough times to be worth it. But what else am I doing with this Pokemon? That is its thing. I mean, I guess Tailwind, but... look at these stats. The nice thing about Fezandipiti is that it has spread moves, so it can at least have the poison chance into both opponents. I can run Dazzling Gleam, I can run Icy Wind. I see it also gets Tail Slap. That's probably a poison chance for each individual hit, right? But it's not a useful move otherwise. I don't actually know what I want in the last move. Maybe I should just go with Tailwind. You know, just in case it's useful. Or I could go for a Poison Stab. But, like, why? Is there anything else that jumps out at me in this move list? There's Heat Wave. It's Steel types. Because Fezandipiti can't poison them. So probably just one other answers to Steel types. Icy Wind for sure. Quick Attack for a last chance. That's actually kind of funny. Maybe I'll do that. When is this thing landing a Tailwind anyway, right? Landing a Tailwind, you know what I mean. As it is, I think I'll want to Focus Sash on it. Although, considering one of the restricted Pokemon I'm thinking of pairing with it, we'll talk about that in a moment. Maybe I want to save the Focus Sash. I mean, I think that gives away what it is, probably. Quick Attack. Tailwind. I think it's got to be Terraghost and a Focus Sash. If there's a better Focus Sash user, oh well, it's Fezandipiti's video. And in that case, let's run Tailwind. Dazzling Gleam, Icy Wind, Tailwind, Protect. I'll pair it with Shadow Rider Calyrex. I don't know why I typed Shadow instead of Calyrex. We'll give it Hex. We'll give it Astral Barrage, Hex, Psychic. Actually, I think we're going to go Specs Calyrex. We'll go Pollen Puff. And the reason... or I could do Scarf, but I have speed control of Fezandipiti. Let's go Specs. Then I don't need to worry about the Focus Sash on this Pokemon. And the reason that I also like Pollen Puff is... you want to wear down things, play a grindy game, wear down Pokemon that are poisoned. Dondozo. Tatsugiri. Which form? Well, I've picked this anyway. Maybe the defense boosting one. But again, that kind of goes all in on the opponent actually being poisoned, which is really not that reliable with toxic chain. So maybe we just stick with the attack boosting Tatsugiri. Give it like a choice scarf set or something. And give Dondozo leftovers. Attack, attack, rest, protect. Gotta be rest Dondozo on this team, right? Like order up Earthquake. Earthquake also hits poison and steel types, which are immune to being poisoned. Order up Earthquake, rest, protect. What's a good defensive Terra type right now? Water is already the type that it has. I guess I just said that one because it's on my screen. Electric, only weak to ground. Fairy. Fairy's pretty good, especially since Dondozo, I assume, is a very heavy Pokemon, so it's not going to take a whole lot from Zamazenta Heavy Slam. That said, I do have to be wary of Magearna. I'm going to go with Electric for now. I can change it if I want. Tatsugiri, we'll just do like Draco Meteor, Muddy Water, maybe like Hydro Pump, and Icy Wind. Something like that. For the other restricted, I'm thinking Zamazenta. I need something to beat Steel types a bit more reliably. And also, it's tanky. So it's hard to for opponents to take down quickly, which could be useful if their Pokemon are poisoned. Terra type. Oh, I like Terra Electric Dondozo as well because I need answers to Miraidon. With that in mind, I also might want to do Terra Grass Zamazenta. I think that makes sense here. Maybe it makes me a little bit weak to Chi-Yu, but I can throw Dondozo at that. So I think Terra Grass Zamazenta is reasonable. And I really don't know what I want to do with the last slot. So I'm probably weak to Darkrai stuff. I mean, I can Dazzling Gleam it, but it's faster. I can run it with some speed control. I think because I really wanted to face a Darkrai last video, and I never did, I probably will run into like 3 Darkrai in a row immediately in this one. So, I mean, Zamazenta's strong into Darkrai. It does get Wide Guard as well to cover its teammates with Dark Void, but it might not hurt to have like an Urshifu or some strong fairy type like a Fluttermane, you know, an actual strong one, not Fezandipiti. Or I could just do like a bulky Raging Bolt, or I could just do like some kind of Ogre Pawn. Is there anything else that I have trouble with on this team? Hard Trick Room. I mean, I imagine I'll make Dondozo very bulky, so it'll be hard for Hard Trick Room teams to break it, I would think. So that ought to help, but maybe like Cornerstone Mask Ogre Pawn can also help to give some cover to its teammates. I think on a team like this, I don't completely see the vision for what it brings to the table, but I think it's a reasonable Mon, just for sturdy and redirection, just solid support. But actually, as I was starting to say that, the answer came to mind. If I want solid support, let's just slap on an Incineroar. I'm not sure what its role is on this team, but I don't think it hurts to have it. I have one Amoonguss immunity, but it requires me to Terrasilize this. I think I bring Safety Goggles and Incineroar on this team. Intimidate, obviously. Terra Ghost, probably. Maybe Bug. Am I afraid? I'm not really afraid of fighting type threats. I mean, Dondozo should be good into Urshifu. Actually, Urshifu can crit Dondozo. Maybe I would rather have Terra Bug, actually. And Will-O-Wisp to be able to burn Urshifu. Usually I run Flare Blitz over Will-O-Wisp on Incineroar in this format because it's often one of the best tools I have into Magearna. But I think with Zamazenta, Dondozo, I'm not necessarily that afraid of Magearna, and I might be more afraid of Urshifu in some positions, especially the single strike form, which is why I'm leaning Terra Bug on Incineroar instead of a Terra type that makes it weak to Wicked Blow. And I think I am leaning Will-O-Wisp instead of Flare Blitz. I could drop like Parting Shot for Flare Blitz or Knockoff for Flare Blitz more realistically. But I think we're going to go with this for now. I'll figure out some EV spreads. It's going to be a bulky team, except this and this, not so bulky. And the goal is spread poison with Fezandipiti, stall things out with Dondozo, overwhelm with Calyrex, do some of both with Zamazenta. Maybe I could use another Tailwind setter on this team, because Fezandipiti is not really here to be a Tailwind setter. The move is just kind of there. But no, I think Incineroar is the Pokemon to tie things together. And I'll just have to figure out how to actually play and win games with this team, hopefully, once it's complete. We'll see what happens. You know, I glanced at Fezandipiti's stats earlier, and somehow I didn't notice that the attack is actually a fair bit higher than the special attack. I don't know if I'd ever noticed that before. So moves like Tail Slap and Quick Attack could actually make decent sense. That said, I still prefer the spread poisoning potential on Dazzling Gleam and Icy Wind, which is what people have tried with Fezandipiti and VGC before. Also, while I was doing EVs, I realized I'd forgotten to ever think about Tatsugiri's Terra type. I've gone with Stellar for some extra damage when Tatsugiri probably clicks between 0 and 1 attacks in a game anyway. No need to worry about which type to boost, right? Stellar takes that out of my hands. I think Fezandipiti is shiny locked, probably. It's not a great shiny anyway, I'm not going to check. And now, let's get on the ladder. Well, let's poison some things, I hope. It's going to be funny when the wheel gives me Pecharunt next and I just poison things again. Okay. Miraidon, Lunala, Ursaluna, Whimsicott, Urshifu, and Incineroar. So, well, I mean, my plan is my plan. Actually, I didn't think about how much wide guard there is in this format. Reg F Fezandipiti, didn't have to worry about that, but my plan is my plan. Let's leave Fezandipiti and Calyrex should outspeed any of the restricteds, but they have Tailwind. I have Tailwind too, but I'll barely have Tailwind. Kind of like Calyrex and anything except a Whimsicott lead, but I kind of think there might be a Whimsicott lead. So I'm going to go Fezandipiti, Zamazenta, and I think I'll bring the 2 fish in the back for this one. We'll see what happens. It is Whimsicott Urshifu. Okay. Interesting. I'll just go straight for Dazzling Gleam and Body Press into Urshifu. Rapid Strike form, by the way, that'll take out Fezandipiti before Fezandipiti gets to do anything. But at least it's not attacking Zamazenta. Zamazenta gets an opening for a Body Press. Now I go Dondozo. And do what with it? Order up, I guess. Heavy Slam into Whimsicott if they let me. They don't Encore. Break the Shadow Shield on this Lunala. They do let me take out the Whimsicott. Well, that does break the Shadow Shield. Doesn't do a whole lot else. I think it probably, even though I give up the Dauntless Shield boost, I think it probably is time to Terra Electric, Earthquake, and bring Tatsugiri into Dondozo's mouth. They probably don't Wide Guard in this position. Maybe they do. Draco Meteor from Miraidon still does a ton of damage because I didn't successfully bait it into an Electric type attack, but Dondozo narrowly survives, does get the Earthquake off, doesn't get any KOs because this Dondozo is like all invested in bulk. So, unfortunately, it's looking not great so far in this first game. Actually, yeah, I'm in Moongeist Beam range, so I do have to protect here, even though it gives Miraidon a free chance to switch out. And then Urshifu just crits through Dondozo's boosts anyway. Lunala gets a Moongeist Beam into the Tatsugiri. Rough start for this team, but hey, I knew Fezandipiti would be a hard Pokemon to use. It got knocked out turn 1 without even doing anything. It's probably its fault how this game went, right? I still have Zamazenta. No boosts on it, though. This Lunala has never clicked Wide Guard. I'm not confident they have it. I don't have my Terra Grass on Zamazenta anymore, but actually, if I knock something out here, I force Miraidon in with 1 turn left of Electric Terrain, and maybe I can protect Zamazenta, get through the Hadron Engine. I kind of think I want to do Icy Wind on Tatsugiri, and then look for the KO on Urshifu. Let's see how that goes for me. Again, I'm not afraid of Wide Guard, because at this point, it really doesn't seem like they have it. But what does Lunala go for here? It's Moonblast. It knocks out Tatsugiri. So I don't think Zamazenta takes down their 2 restricteds, but to give it a fighting chance, I'll protect through the last turn of electric terrain. That is some convenient timing for me. How do I ever beat Lunala anyway? I don't know if Behemoth Bash have Heavy Slam. Let's at least see if I can take out Miraidon. Terra Ghost. They got me with that. I think it was over anyway, but I didn't see that coming. Although it makes decent sense on Miraidon, right? Like that Pokemon's usually choiced. Opponent says EZ, PZ, Lemon, Squeezed. Almost. EZ, PZ, Lemon, Squizzy in the chat. Okay, sure. We move on to the next one. That opponent's feeling good about taking down the titan of Regulation J that is Fezandipiti. Okay. Miraidon, Ice Rider, Calyrex, Urshifu, Incineroar, Ditto, Tornadus. This team wants to spread poison. Turns out that's easier said than done, but I think we lead Fezandipiti without a good reason not to. I guess a good reason not to is that it's Fezandipiti, but you know the drill here. You know what video this is. I'll just bring restricteds. The Dozo stuff might even be better here, but I don't wanna. Leave both my restricted Pokemon behind, make Dozo my restricted. I don't know about that one. Horn Ursh. Let's Dazzling Gleam and fake out the Ursh part of that. Dazzling Gleam should do good damage, even if it doesn't get the poison into Urshifu. If they actually let me, but they don't let me, but maybe I can poison Incineroar. Liquid Storm misses Fezandipiti, doesn't do much to my Incineroar. Dazzling Gleam does like nothing, doesn't poison anything. It's probably Covert Cloak Tornadus, so I probably... Wait. Is Toxic Chain... Does Covert Cloak stop Toxic Chain? It's not a move effect, but it might be treated like a move effect. Actually, don't know. That kind of thing can be pretty nebulous in Pokemon. I'll go for Parting Shot here. They might fake out my Incin, but... I just don't want to switch some. Zamazenta could probably switch in fairly safely here, but there are some shenanigans they could pull. I don't know. Liquid Storm into Incin, get the Parting Shot into Torn. I guess we do go Zamazenta here. It's their Parting Shot into Fezandipiti. Fezandipiti stops that. I think I'm going to throw off an Icy Wind here. It gives me a little bit of speed control as long as they're not setting Tailwind up. And I'll go for Body Press into Incin. Terra Bug, okay, makes sense. They do set the Tailwind also. Okay, Tornadus is poisoned. I don't know its item, so that doesn't confirm anything about the Covert Cloak interaction. Oh wait, the Covert Cloak is on Incin actually. I know that because it didn't get speed dropped by the Icy Wind. And it does have Will-O-Wisp, so it burns my Zamazenta. Not really what I wanted to see. I'll just go for my Tailwind with Fezandipiti actually. I might as well. And do what damage I can to Incin while Zamazenta is still here. I guess Dazzling Gleam there into Urshifu would have been nice, but having my Tailwind offset from theirs is also pretty good. Miraidon is extremely threatening. I think I'll switch Fezandipiti out to Incineroar. And again, I'm just looking to do what damage I can with Zamazenta at this point, because the burn is really unfortunate for me. Might have been better actually to get Incin in safely on the other slot, but... What can you do? Go Fezandipiti to get through the Tailwind, but then they can set their Tailwind back up. Oh well. Icy Wind, Body Press. Fezandipiti just doesn't keep up in this format, seems to be the lesson here. But what if I get some game where it does? Electrodrift knocks it down to its Sash. They might not have doubled it. In any case, I get the Icy Wind next. I miss the Urshifu, but I do get a clutch speed drop and poison on the Miraidon. Miraidon will survive the poison damage this turn as Zamazenta goes down. This is the one turn I have Tailwind and they don't. I get Calyrex in. I can Astral Barrage. Incineroar isn't even a Dark type anymore, plus it's at low HP. Is it just Dazzling Gleam and Astral Barrage? I think so. Might actually win this one. Although, they still have the Tornadus in the back, so there might be some ways they can mess with me. Yeah, like if they just get a Tailwind up for maybe Urshifu in the right position. Miraidon drops the poison damage at the end of this turn anyway, so preserving that probably not great for them, especially since... No, they do know that I don't have Sash Calyrex because they saw the Sash on Fezandipiti, so yeah. Protecting Urshifu and getting Torn in also works the same way. Pretty unfortunate for me that I missed the Icy Wind into Urshifu earlier. But I guess here... I'll Tailwind, actually. It might pay off, and I'll Terra Ghost for the strongest possible Astral Barrage. There's nothing else to do with my Terra in this game. But yeah, they get Tailwind, they get Surging Strikes. It doesn't KO, actually. Huge. Astral Barrage takes 2 KOs. I get my Tailwind, but more importantly, Incineroar is just not taking this hit. So we actually do win this one somehow, as the opponent forfeits. They were about 1,800. Is that cut off? They were 1,799 down to 1,765. Tells me not a lot of people are playing this ladder right now, but also that might be one of the highest rated opponents I've ever gotten in a ladder game, inside and outside of content. And Fezandipiti managed to take them down. How about that? Is it rude if I say EZ, PZ, Lemon Squizzy to that? You watched the battle. You heard my commentary. You know it's insincere. I don't mean it one bit. Lunala, Koraidon, Rillaboom, Ogerpon, Fluttermane, and Raging Bolt. Okay. So this is another one that could have Wide Guard. But this team just leads Fezandipiti. That's just what this team does. I'll do Fezandipiti, Incineroar, and the Restricteds in the back again. That was a fun mode. Like they're taking a bit of time because they're looking at the Fezandipiti at preview and looking up what Pokemon that is because they've forgotten. Alright, I want to get rid of that speed boost if I can. Icy Wind and Fake Out into Koraidon. Let's go. Or I could Tailwind, but Icy Wind is the chance to poison them. Or they could protect Fluttermane and Koraidon, and I could end up wishing that I'd clicked Tailwind. Oh well. Yeah, Tailwind would have been... That one would have been pretty good there. Okay, well, we learned nothing, and Icy Wind again. We Terra Bug, Terra Bug, Terra Bug, Terra Bug, we Terra Bug, we Terra Bug, maybe we Terra Bug. Will they let me Will-O-Wisp Koraidon, please? Well, Collision Course into Incineroar. Sadly, no Rocky Helmet. We get an Icy Wind into these two. It poisons Koraidon. It does not... Oh, Clear Amulet Koraidon. That's why. Yeah, Covert Cloak and Clear Amulet both stop the speed drop, so that's why we don't get that. I'll go for my Tailwind here. And... Parting Shot into Ogerpon? Yeah, I think so. They can Flame Charge Incin. It almost KOs. They get a speed boost. But Tailwind will help Calyrex stay ahead, and actually, I don't love bringing Calyrex in on what could be an Ivy Cudgel into Calyrex. But I'm really out of position if I bring Zamazenta in here. Koraidon's only at +1. I think I can bring Zamazenta in. And then, like, if things get awkward, I can sack Incineroar to get... should have listened to my gut and brought in Calyrex. Oh well. What a shame. Let's keep up the Icy Wind spam, and let's body press Koraidon. See, I wanted to bring Calyrex in there. It had such a strong Astral Barrage here, but I was worried the Ivy Cudgel would go into that slot. I thought I could almost pivot Zamazenta out, sack Incineroar, get Calyrex in that way. Koraidon's only at +1 speed, so even if it uses another Flame Charge in the meantime, Shadow Rider and Tailwind is still faster. But no, I should have just done the first thing I thought of in that situation. There's the Terra Fire. Narrowly survives a body press, so it will get a collision course into Zamazenta before dropping to poison damage. There's only one turn of Sun left. Don't know my speed interactions here. If Flutter Mane comes in. But it's not Flutter Mane, it's Lunala. I'll Dazzling Gleam here, and... I don't know. Body press the Ogre Pawn? Imagine they switch Flutter Mane in and I get both Dazzling Gleam poisons. Get past the Flutter Mane likely Focus Sash with that. They do switch Flutter Mane in. Dazzling Gleam, breaks Shadow Shield, poisons Lunala, and poisons Flutter Mane. Incredible. The Body Press doing nothing is not ideal. Meteor Beam, is that to finish off Fezandipiti? Yes, but they miss. Sun is over. Last turn of Tailwind. I'll Icy Wind here to lower the Flutter Mane speed. I'll also... do I even have to do that? No. I can just Dazzling Gleam and Heavy Slam Flutter Mane. Flutter Mane probably protects anyway, but if it doesn't, I just knock it out here. It protects, yeah. And so, oh, Wide Guard from Lunala. Well... You know, that kind of means the only useful thing Fezandipiti can do this next turn is click Tailwind again. I don't know that they'll let me get away with it. Fezandipiti is at 1 HP, but I'll try. They might want to prioritize the Zamazenta. They do take out the Fezandipiti. I mean, it makes sense. I knock out Flutter Mane back. Lunala has that toxic poison damage, so it's adding up over time. But they take out Zamazenta, but I've preserved my Shadow Rider and also my 1% Incineroar. One HP Incineroar, Invisible Focus Sash. So I think I can just fake out Ogre Pawn and Hex Lunala, right? It's poison, so I get the boosted damage on Hex. It's single target, it's not stopped by Wide Guard. They could protect. If Ogre Pawn goes for Spiky Shield, that knocks out Incineroar, so that's pretty funny, but I think it's still worth it. Because if they do let Lunala go down here, then I can just outspeed Ogre Pawn. Shame I never poisoned it, but still, +1 Hex from Specs Calyrex. Would do some real damage. I might time out. Wide Guard. Don't know what Ogre Pawn went for. But Hex comes out and knocks out Lunala. And we just knock off and Hex here. I'm going to read a Spiky Shield here. I'm going to Parting Shot and Hex. Why make it easy for them? Actually, I think they might be AFK. They might have timed out on that last turn. And I've learned now, I went on a rant about it last time, I've learned now that Showdown Timer, in VGC games at least, works like a VGC timer. And it'll just use the move in the first slot. And all this time I thought opponents were just messing with me when they did this, but... because I thought if they actually timed out, they would lose the game, because that's how battle simulators have worked longer than VGC has existed. But I don't remember how. Somehow I learned better just recently. Not one person in the comments ever corrected me on that, but I learned some other way. Follow me. I would say they might have timed out. Although, would you really have follow me in the first slot? Follow me does not feel like a first slot move in my book. But anyway, this is guaranteed now. In 30 seconds, I guess. How's everybody's day been? Let me know in the comments. And what do you think about Fezandipiti? Let me know that too. Follow me. I guess that is the first move slot on this Ogre Pawn. GG. Okay, we get an alternative take here and possibly a look into the future, as Pecharunt is one of the few Pokemon still remaining on the wheel. It's Pecharunt, Miraidon, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Chiyu, Iron Valiant, and what's more, my Dondozo can't use Rest if my opponent's electric terrain is up. So, also, did I remember to have Unaware on Dondozo? Okay, well I didn't remember to, but I have it. Well, let's just do our thing. Do I lead Calyrex to cover a Pecharunt lead? I actually think that makes sense. I have no idea how heavy Pecharunt is. Maybe I could lead Zamazenta and heavy slam it, but let's just do this. And I'll bring my Dozogiri. If it's Dozogiri versus Dozogiri, well, I hope you're a person who enjoys Dozogiri versus Dozogiri. I am down to just Dazzling Gleam and Astral Barrage right now. That looks very strong in this position. Pecharunt protects. Fair enough. Astral Barrage is less than I'd like to Miraidon. Oh, is it AV Miraidon? I'm very lucky that it misses that Snarl into my Calyrex. Very, very lucky. Don't get the poison, but it's an Astral Barrage range anyway, so it's fine. I'm gonna make the same play again. They showed their way to punish it, and unfortunately, 95% of the time that would have worked out well for them, but we're in the 5%. Calyrex gets 2 KOs and a boost. I wonder whether they'll forfeit. 2 boosts. I wonder whether they'll forfeit. Yeah. Okay. Well, on to the next. Still feels like there are not a lot of people playing this ladder right now. But there are enough. Zamazenta, Shadow Rider Calyrex, Chien-Pao, Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon, Rillaboom, and Incineroar. I would love to poison some of these guys, with the obvious exception of Zamazenta. Also, Icy Wind with a poison chance looks pretty strong into some of these guys. Fezandipiti. I think my own Zamazenta has a strong lead here. It's good into like everything they have, except of course evenly matched with this. I have to watch out for Will-O-Wisp from this. This is a threat, but it's good into a lot of what they have. Incineroar is really good here. I think probably I'll bring Incineroar Calyrex to this one and not the Dozogiri. And they do have 2 strong grass types, and they have Incineroar of their own, so let's do that. Incineroar, Zamazenta. Okay, can't poison Zamazenta. It might be worthwhile to commit the Terra Grass on my Zamazenta. I'm not going to do it this turn. I'm going to double protect this turn. Scout what they do. Avoid Fake Out. Might be worthwhile to Terra Grass my Zamazenta so that I'm not at a disadvantage against my opponent's body press. Never mind. Let's just Icy Wind. What is this? Try fight button. Okay, I probably can't use body press, right? Can I use body press? Nope. Nor can I use heavy slam or wide guard. Alright, I'll switch to Incineroar. Maybe that just gets body pressed, but I didn't figure out what to do and I got low on time. A speed drop at least. Or a heavy slam into Fezandipiti. And a knockoff into Fezandipiti takes that out. At least now I can fake out their Incineroar while I go for, I don't know, Psychic into Zamazenta, Astral Barrage. We know they have Wide Guard because that move was imprisoned. I could Terra Ghost and Hex. Let's just do that. I'm probably going to want to Terra Ghost in this game anyway. But I'm not double weak to their stuff. I lose Incineroar to that play. Maybe I should have thought about the Terra Bug. They have Covert Cloak Incineroar, which I should have realized from the fact that it didn't take an Icy Wind speed drop. You know what happened? I did see that, and then I realized, oh, well, at least I don't have my specs anymore. I did see that, and then I realized, oh, what I'm, right. Right. Hang on. No, this is GG. I'm not winning this. They have Wide Guard for good measure. What am I saying? I clocked that something was off with the Incineroar, which I now realize is that it didn't get the speed drop from Icy Wind. But then I sort of processed that as it didn't get poisoned, and I thought, well, the poison is not guaranteed. In fact, it's only a 30% chance, so that's fine. That doesn't imply anything about what its item is. But no, there was something that I picked up on and didn't quite consciously put together, which was that it didn't take the speed drop. So it's Covert Cloak Incin. Is that 2 Covert Cloak Incin in this session? Are people, is that a thing now? Are people running that? I think I've seen them in Reg H, so I guess why not in Reg J? Anyway, got the double protect. I should probably have forfeited, but I don't know. When I'm in a dominant position like this, I prefer to play it out and see. My opponent's rooting for the triple. Aw. Yeah. Okay, well, I almost gave them the show they were looking for. When I'm in a dominant position like that, I prefer to see it out, to play it out and actually watch the moves happen. I find it feels more satisfying that way. I know some people don't feel that way. I know in chess especially, it's the norm that if your opponent has no way to win, like, it's polite that they resign and impolite that they waste your time by not resigning. And I can accept that that's the norm in chess, but, like, that's just not how I personally feel about things, and certainly not in Pokemon. I mean, I don't play enough chess for that to be really an issue, really. Personally, I feel more satisfied if I set up a guaranteed win and then actually get to watch it play out, is my point. So, sometimes I feel like I'm being polite to my opponent when I let them do that, but I'm sure some people don't take it that way. Ugh, Final Gambit Annihilate with Magearna. Do I just lead Dosogiri? Because they can't Final Gambit Dondozo. I mean, they can't just wipe it out with that. Probably more reasonable to lead Calyrex, right? Let's just lead with my restricteds, so that I have Zamazenta to check the Incineroar. Maybe I don't bring Fezandipiti to this one. I think I'd bring the Dozogiri stuff in the back. Alright, Fezandipiti doesn't have to come to every game. Magearna, Annihilate. But I can just protect Zamazenta and Astral Barrage. Yeah, they went for the Final Gambit into Zamazenta. I'm surprised they did that instead of just pivoting and trying to reposition, but I don't know. A lot of these Magearna Annihilate players just go for the Final Gambit turn 1 if they possibly can. I'm sure it pays off sometimes. Okay. I probably don't want to leave Calyrex in here. You know what I could do? I could Terra Ghost the Terra Grass the Zamazenta, then they can't Rage Powder its attack. So I can go Dondozo here just for sheer bulk. Terra Grass, Body Press Magearna, and that removes a giant threat. Foul Play Dozo. This is like all bulk Dozo. Actually just Flash Cannon it. And the Foul Play came from Munga, so I didn't need to use my Terra there. But it should be okay. I mean, okay, the Ice Rider Calyrex it makes Terra Grass Zamazenta a little sad, but I don't see how it breaks Dondozo, and I don't think they do either because they forfeit. Okay. That's some quick games tonight. Did I play this person already? I think I did. Team looks familiar. User looks vaguely familiar. I think I brought Fezandipiti and Incineroar in my restricteds, which I think is reasonable to do again. Dozogiri is not great into all these guys, I don't think. Guess we'll see what I know. See what my opponent comes up with. The next 30 seconds or so. Is this the person who went AFK? And have they done it again? Who knows? I think it is the same person because I remember the Hearthflame Mask Ogre Pawn with Follow Me in the first slot. I'm so glad I finally know what's going on in those situations. And it looks like they will time out. Probably. Again, until very recently I would have thought this meant they lost the game on the spot, but actually they didn't time out. I think if it works like the cartridge games, this would have sent out their first 2 Pokemon if they had timed out here. So I think this is exactly the same play I made turn 1 last time, but whatever, it's fine. We'll see if they have an adjustment to it. Icy Wind can't lower Koraidon speed. I do have that straight in my head now, but it still can do Flutter Mane. They actually leave Koraidon in on the fake out this time, which is not what I think they did last time, but they have their own Icy Wind. So they can keep a speed control advantage there. They also break Fezandipiti's Focus Sash, and I don't get the poison. Bit unfortunate. I'll see if they let me get my Tailwind. I don't think they will. I'll see if they let me have a knockoff into Koraidon. I mean, probably one of those things will work, right? Flutter Mane protects. Koraidon protects. I get my Tailwind. Okay, big. I'll just Icy Wind and knock off here. Maybe I should Terrasilize Incineroar, but I don't know if I want to use my Terra on that in this game. Ogrepawn's back. Well, it's here in this game for the first time. I land Icy Wind into Ogrepawn, which is a more important target. Don't get to poison anything. Fezandipiti goes down without poisoning anything. Clear Amulet is finally gone. I'll go Calyrex now before the Koraidon snowballs too much, and now I can use Terra Ghost on Calyrex. I think that's fine. I don't think I'm Terra Grass Zamazenta-ing into this team. So let's just get maximum power Astral Barrage and double up with a knockoff into Koraidon just in case that Pokemon survives. A bit more afraid of that than I am of Ogrepawn. Koraidon protects. Ogrepawn drops. Only one turn of Tailwind left. And I'm choice locked here. Maybe they don't have Wide Guard. I don't remember whether they do. But I did not think about the Lunala in the back. And they have Wide Guard. That's my bad. But they let me off the hook. They Flame Charge the Incineroar and let me get a big knockoff into Lunala. And the sun ends. I'll switch out to Zamazenta here so I'm not choice locked into Astral Barrage anymore. I'll knock off Lunala again if they let me. Their item's gone, but so is their Shadow Shield. This might be a good time to Terra Bug Incineroar if I still could, but it's fine. Can't remember whether this is... Oh, Power Herb. It is Meteor Beam Lunala, but they can't do it in one turn anymore. They're just Wide Guarding anyway. Collision Course into Incineroar. Fair enough, but now I can get Calyrex back and I can lock myself into Hex on a soft target here. Maybe I'd rather Psychic Koraidon. Make sure Zamazenta gets a chance to attack Lunala. Do that. It is +2 speed Koraidon. My Tailwind is gone. Calyrex might not be able to do enough work to get through this. Heavy Slam crit would have been nice there, but they Moongeist Beam Zamazenta, and they don't have the sun to speed up their Flutter Mane anymore, so I actually think I think that choice of targets there lost them the game. Unless there's something I'm missing. But no, Psychic takes out Flutter Mane. Heavy Slam takes out Lunala. They probably... do they not? I think they win if they Moongeist Beam the Calyrex instead of the Zamazenta, no? But maybe they just thought the Flare Blitz would KO. I mean, that's fair enough, I think. Although it's not like this is bulky Shadow Rider. But I might have thought it would, but I notoriously don't know my calcs. A lot of players do actually try to learn those things. But they didn't have the sun up, so maybe they're used to Hadron Engine and the extra fire damage. Anyway, not Hadron Engine or Calcum-Pulse. Amoonguss, Ice Rider Calyrex, Kyogre, Grimmsnarl, Fluttermane, Basculegion. There's a Trick Room component, but also has very fast, swift swim stuff going on. Well, I'd like to poison things if I can. Dozogiri looks really strong into this. Let's go Fezandipiti, Zamazenta, Dozogiri. Because Calyrex is outsped by Basculegion and Rain, possibly outsped by Fluttermane depending on its set, undersped by all their other stuff in Trick Room. I think my Shadow Rider is not the strongest thing here. And if I could poison their Ice Rider, that would be really nice. Let's Dazzling Gleam. Let's also... let's Heavy Slam the Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl's a menace of a Pokemon. If they have Fake Out, my guess is it goes into Zamazenta and not Fezandipiti. So I would love to get the opportunity to poison things if I can. Especially since I think when Fezandipiti was used in Reg F, it often ran Covert Cloak. So some of my opponents might be expecting that, I don't know. Especially when there's competition for the Focus Sash from Calyrex, but there's no Fake Out at all. We take out Grimmsnarl after it sets Reflect. Their Calyrex goes Terra Grass to take away its Steel weakness, I guess, and sets Trick Room. My own Terra Grass here would protect Zamazenta from Amoonguss, but make it weak to Glacial Lance, so I don't think I want to do that. I think I'll just get Icy Wind. They're slower than me anyway, the speed doesn't really matter. It's super effective. And it has a chance to poison. Doesn't do very much damage, but whatever, let's try it. And this turn I'll Wide Guard. Can avoid a Glacial Lance this turn at least. Before Zamazenta takes a nap, the Wide Guard will still work. Even if Zamazenta had somehow fainted there, the Wide Guard would still work for this turn. Get a little bit of chip, really not very much. Still don't poison the Calyrex. It's not Clear Amulet Calyrex. Wouldn't be Covert Cloak, would it? Oh no, we've seen Leftovers. Okay. Fezandipiti might take a nap now. Let's Protect to try to avoid that, and let's Body Press Calyrex. Although Zamazenta, of course, stays asleep this turn. Fezandipiti still has the Focus Sash, so I think I can just click Icy Wind here. Fezandipiti will fall asleep, but it'll help me kill Trick Room turns all the same. Without giving Calyrex a boost, unless they double into it for some reason, like double attack it. If they don't attack it at all, Zamazenta wakes up. That does not do much to Calyrex through the Reflect. I might want to switch Zamazenta out, but for now, I'll protect both my Pokemon to get out of the Trick Room. If I can poison the Calyrex, then I'm in a good spot, right? Because the toxic damage increases over time. Oh, Fezandipiti stayed asleep, so it wasn't actually protected there. Still not guaranteed to wake up. I would really like to poison this Calyrex now. I would really, really like to. Rage Powder. But that's fine for Icy Wind, but Fezandipiti takes maximum sleep turns. They set the Trick Room back up. Okay, this turn... Fezandipiti is guaranteed to wake up. I can Wide Guard to protect it from a Glacial Lance. They don't... They might have high horsepower. They probably don't. Fezandipiti can get at least one more shot at this Icy Wind. And I'm in a way better position, especially with Dondozo in the back, if I poison this Calyrex, because eventually the Leech Seed recovery will not make up for it. I can even look to pivot these Pokemon out if I just got this Calyrex poisoned right now. Zamazenta falls asleep. Fezandipiti is guaranteed to wake up. Maybe I should have clicked Dazzling Gleam for the accuracy. But Icy Wind connects. And doesn't get the poison. So bad. Okay. We pivot around this, I think. Well, this turn I think I protect Fezandipiti. Let me get this Amoonguss out of here if I can. Actually switch it out to Kyogre. It's so dangerous. Right, because Fezandipiti's going to outspeed both of these, I'm sure. Zamazenta's just toast at this point. Do I unleash the Dondozo here? Honestly, maybe, because I can stack order-ups. If I'd ever gotten the poison into Calyrex, I'd be so much better off. I think I just bring in the I can just bring in the Dozogiri here. Zamazenta might be useless for the rest of the game, but it does have a chance to wake up next time it comes in. It is possible. This isn't how I wanted this to go, but I have rest. I can stack order ups. Yeah, we take that Glacial Lance like it's nothing. The Hydro Pump hurts more. I'll protect here. And I have the rest, of course, as well, so Leech Seed damage over time is not the end of the world. Alright, here we go. I had thought for a while about whether I could bring Dondozo in without Tatsugiri. I didn't really talk that part through, but like I don't know what it does without the boosts. And them only being able to Leech Seed Dozo and not also Tatsugiri is kind of nice. This position sucks though because they can Spore the Dondozo. Get free Leech Seed. The good news is the Calyrex doesn't do much damage to Dondozo except with Leech Seed. There's the Spore. Guaranteed sleep turn. You just try to wake up and get rid of this Amoonguss. If we catch Kyogre switching in for it, that's also okay. It's progress. It's not as good as getting Amoonguss. Kyogre switches in here. Does Dondozo wake up? It does. Okay, huge. It's a big order up. Protect here, get out of the Trick Room. Is it going to be Rage Powder and... Okay, Origin Pulse, it's not Thunder, that's okay. Try to knock out Kyogre if I can, it protects. I think it just Spore me again. Maybe I should have rested there, but that's so slow. It's just so slow. Everything's so slow. Ah! Well, this is what I signed up for with this kind of team. I just, you know, also hoped that I was signing up to poison things, and that would be less slow because of that. My opponent's taking some time with this turn. Maybe they'll get fed up with this and go AFK. Or forfeit. Water Spout. Also stays asleep. It's puffing to Kyogre. Oh no. Okay, we click rest here. Only 8 PP on rest. I'm making like no progress because they can heal everything. That's a more powerful Water Spout. I actually just need Dondozo to wake up here. It does. Clutch. Okay, now we have to sleep for 2 turns. Let's target order up into Amoonguss. Amoonguss is the biggest problem right now. I think the hierarchy of problems is Amoonguss, then Kyogre, then Calyrex. This is another guaranteed sleep turn. Just ever poison the Even if I'd poison the Calyrex, though, they have enough Pokemon that they can switch it out and reset the ticker. But it would still be some kind of pressure. And I've taken so much damage now, I have to just rest again, don't I? I mean, at least I'm burning through some of their PP. Water Spout does 15. Glacial Lance does, let's round it up to 7. If they Trick Room instead, I think I have just enough HP. Nope, that's not accounting for Leech Seed damage. I just have to rest again. I feel like I have to apologize to the audience after this one. 2 sleep turns. They forfeit. Okay. Mercifully, they spare me from the rest of that game, although... Well, I say it's my own fault. I didn't run Leech Seed Calyrex. That part's their fault. With the Dondozo, or the Amoonguss support and stuff. That part's on them. That was a team effort, making that game miserable. Is this Arceus Perish Trap? They have Ground Arceus. I don't know that the form matters, but they have an Arceus, and they have Gothitelle. Arceus Perish Trap seems like kind of a different kind of nightmare for my team, but... Let's just play our game and see what happens. Let's just do this. Maybe I want Incineroar here, but then what do I want with that in the last slot? Zamazenta? I don't know. Don't like seeing my opponent's Incin though. Especially without protecting my Calyrex. I'm actually just gonna Icy Wind and switch to Dondozo here. Terra Normal on the Calyrex, good to know about. Just Astral Barrage immediately. Fezandipiti takes that pretty well, actually. Icy Wind. No Covert Cloak anywhere. They get rid of Dondozo's leftovers. You know what? Maybe I'd rather have Dondozo and Incineroar here, because it's not like I'm going to try to set the Dondozo up at this point, am I? I mean, I have Rest. I could. But, man. That doesn't seem like a fun time. Let's just get some chip, I guess. Into something. Please start poisoning things, Fezandipiti. This is what you're here to do. I mean, I called out that it wasn't likely to work. I have eject button, Mungus. It's Perish Trap. I have never seen... Okay, it's Perish Trap, but they didn't bring the Gothitelle. I have never seen Toxic Chain actually activate as much as I want it to. I don't have a Water Stab on Dondozo to throw at this Arceus. Not that Dondozo will get the chance anyway. That had to be a roll. Astral Barrage did less than that on the first turn, so I thought Fezandipiti would take it. Sad game. This one specifically. Well, we lock into Hex. I guess we Terra Stellar Muddy Water, why not? A heroic effort from my team here, but don't get the KO on their normal type Calyrex, and Tatsugiri doesn't get to move. That's an interesting speed interaction. Scarf Tatsugiri, max speed but not scarfed Calyrex against their presumably also max speed Calyrex. That opponent was in the 1700s. Yeah, not many people are playing this ladder right now, I think, because I'm getting quite a range of opponent ratings. Some of them among the higher ratings I've ever seen playing the ladder. I'm going to play one last game. I'm going to bring Fezandipiti. I'm going to bring Dozogiri. I'll probably bring Calyrex, because I haven't been clicking Hex into poisoned targets as much as I'd like. We're going to do the old commit to the mode before I see the opponent's team, and we're going to hope for the best. And this is going to be the last game of the video, either way. Assuming I can find an opponent. This actually was a really good showcase, though, of why Fezandipiti never really took off, because I had that one game where if I just ever poison the Calyrex, it's a lot less of a slog, but Toxic Chain is just so unreliable. Let's go for it one more time with that ability. Horn, Ursh, they can just wipe my Fezandipiti out before I get to do anything with it. But if they do that, they're leaving Calyrex open, so I'm just going to Icy Wind. I'm going to Dazzling. I'm going to Daz Ice Ling. I think they attack Calyrex. I'm going to Dazzling Gleam and switch to Dondozo. Why throw my restricted Pokemon away? Terra Stellar. It is Surging Strikes into Dondozo. I get a big Dazzling Gleam here. Hope it's a big one. No poison! And what am I going to do? Not bring in Tatsugiri here? Just let Fezandipiti get Surging Struck? Guaranteeing I never poison anything in this game? No. Tatsugiri is coming in early. Is what it is. Let's order up this bear. Rain Dance. Big Surging Strikes, but they targeted the Fezandipiti. So the Urshifu goes down without damaging anything. Calyrex is here. I've got an order up with that thing's name on it. It's Life Orb Calyrex. I don't even have to worry about a Focus Sash. I really thought they'd get the Hurricane Confusion for a second there. It just felt like that kind of game. Let's protect for a little bit of recovery. They didn't even use Hurricane. They used Bleak Windstorm, and yet I felt like they would get Confusion anyway. I think my brain just processed that as Hurricane because I saw a big wind move that didn't hit Tatsugiri for the obvious reason, but, you know, how that landed with me. Their Tailwind is back up. This is slow Dondozo. There's no way it matters, but I guess they don't know that. But it gets me a little bit more recovery. I actually could have protected again there. Would have been a little more optimal. But Dondozo still gets through this, takes out the Calyrex, and they forfeit. And you know what? The plan... I just got to 1600 with that game. I think this laddering session has broken my brain. I'm going to have to call it a night. But you know what? I said I was going to bring the Fezandipiti and try to poison things one more time and take advantage of that. And you know what? Dondozo wrecked this opponent. I'd say this mode worked like a charm. Anyway, Fezandipiti sure is a Pokemon. Come back next time to see what the wheel gives me next.